Do you know how to graph data and then find a line of best fit? Let's take a look at a real-world example that illustrates how to do this. Kelly and her friends are going to have a car wash to raise money for a school trip. They picked a popular location for the car wash, and then they kept track of how many cars they washed per hour. Now, the day that they chose, it happened to be chilly in the morning, and you'll see how this affected the number of cars that they washed throughout the day. The first hour, they only washed 2 cars, and Kelly was sure that that was because of the cold temperature. The second hour, they washed 4 cars. The third hour, they washed 3 cars. The fourth hour, they washed 8 cars. The fifth hour, they washed 12 cars. And the sixth hour, they washed 16 cars. Now, did you know that you can take this data and graph it? But before we graph it, let's put it in a table. Here's our table. We have hours on the left side of the table and cars on the right. So in the first hour, they washed 2 cars. In the second hour, they washed 4 cars. Third hour, 3 cars. Fourth hour, 8 cars. Fifth hour, 12 cars. And in the sixth hour, they washed 18 cars. Now, if we wanted to graph this data, you can see that we already have ordered pairs. Each one of these lines represents an ordered pair. We could say that the hours is our x value, and the cars is our y value. Now let's graph this data. And then we'll find the line of best fit. Here's our grid. Now we're going to put the hours here on the x-axis, and we're going to put the cars here on the y. Let's graph the first one. In the first hour, there were 2 cars. The second hour was 4. The third hour was 3. The fourth hour was all the way up to 8. The fifth hour was up to 12. And the sixth hour was up to 18. Now, we want to draw a line of best fit. You can see that this isn't a straight linear graph, but we can create a line of best fit, and we can create it right through here. You'll see that it's curved, meaning that the growth that happened, it represents and looks like an exponential curve. It's not exactly, but it's still a line of best fit. We could also draw that line straight, and if we drew it straight, we would start here and we would go right up, right like that. Still, you'll see that the line does have a slight curve to it because the number of cars grew to such an extreme. We started at 2 and we ended at 18. Here we still have a line of best fit, but even though we even tried to draw it straight, it still ended up with a curve. If we had really tried to draw it actually straight from this point, it would go something like this. But that doesn't work, so let's take that away. You can see that here is the line for our graph, and it represents the data. We've now graphed the line of best fit.